Hi, I'm Max Brantley with the Arkansas Times on Tuesday, October 27th. News from Little Rock and Arkansas. Lots of developments on the big Arkansas Highway and Transportation Department project to build a $500 million freeway expansion in the middle of Little Rock. The Heights Neighborhood Association voted last night unanimously to oppose the project. State Representative Clark Tucker was leading the opposition. City Director Kathy Webb is working on a resolution for the city board to consider that will oppose the project on a number of grounds. That's going to be delayed. The Highway Department is going to try and sweet talk the city board next week. I hope some opponents will stand up and give the other side of this story. And finally, work is underway to find if there's a potential legal challenge possible to this project on environmental grounds. Everything from destruction of neighborhoods to potential impact on air quality can be considered in the environmental impact statement. Elsewhere, the good news on the health marketplace, from which the private option Medicaid expansion gets its insurance. Rates are going to only go up 4% next year. That's a lot better than a lot of places in the country. The private option plan is working in Arkansas. It's holding down insurance rates. Some interesting legislative races have developed in recent days. Filing is going to begin in about a week. The Democratic Party has not yet totally given up on the Arkansas legislature after this election. They might if they continue to lose. Interesting efforts still being made by the Democrats in heavily Republican Northwest Arkansas. A Latino activist in Springdale, which is more than a third Latino, is going to make a challenge as a Democrat to a Republican who happens to be black in a city that has almost no black residents. Kind of an interesting twist on the normal political expectation. And in Rogers, Grimsley Graham, veteran Rogers teachers, great reputation, Marine veteran, wonderful resume, got beat last year by an unknown Republican. Is going to try again against the Republican incumbent this year, so the fight is not over yet. Interesting news on the national level. Ben Carson, for the first time on a national poll, this one by New York Times and CBS, is in the lead in the Republican nomination race for president. He's ahead of Donald Trump for the first time. Our former governor, Mike Huckabee, is on a four-way tie for 7th place, barely showing on the radar, but he's still in the race. The Fort Smith School Board last night voted finally once and for all to rid Southside High School of Rebels as a team nickname. They'll be the Mavericks. There's still people in town that vow to defeat any school board member in the future who voted for this, so the Civil War isn't over there yet. I reported also from Fort Smith yesterday news on the developing financial disarray of State Senator Jake Files. We reported earlier about a $30,000 loan he received from a lobbyist, legal if somewhat suspect. He's behind on his withholding taxes to the state. He was late paying his corporate taxes. I learned yesterday after an FOI request to the Fort Smith prosecutor that he'd written, one of his construction companies had written a hot check to a supplier. He was facing a potential prosecution if he didn't make the check good. He did make the check good, but on the very day he got the $30,000 loan from the lobbyist. Again, this suggests that what he had said earlier about he could have been bank finance but just chose to use a lobbyist perhaps wasn't exactly the truth. Files has some explaining to do. He's not talking to reporters very much anymore. Funniest story today out of Portland, Oregon. A defender of Planned Parenthood, somebody who uses their services, decided to counter-protest an anti-abortion protest at a Planned Parenthood clinic. She used signs that talked about the services she'd received there for urinary tract infections, for birth control pills, but she finally started yelling yeast infections over and over, and it made the anti-abortion protesters with their children there so unnerved that she ran them off. Maybe this is something we should try the next time the Arkansas legislature wants to curb Planned Parenthood, have a bunch of women in there yelling yeast infection. It's an idea. For your reading today, I urge you to go to the Arkansas blog, that's arkansasblog.com, and read columnist Ernie Dumas' report on how little effect in Arkansas or anywhere the idea is to cut income taxes, particularly on the rich, to spur economic development. It just doesn't work. The figures show that that's the case. Won't stop us from continuing to try that, I'm sure. And finally, in a sad note, Ryan Mallett, the former Arkansas quarterback who's been trying to make a go of it in pro football, got tossed off the Houston Texans team for missing a flight. It's not the first time he's been late. He apparently missed a tardy lesson in school. Kind of sad. He must have been on the outs with the coach. He was the team's only backup quarterback, and he got rid of him anyway. You're rid of me for today. I'm Max Brantley. I'll be back tomorrow.
You feel it in your heart. The spirit of Little Rock. We've had that spirit since 1927, helping build our city by producing decades of leaders in the heart of our state. We are the heart of business and innovation, the heart of politics and government, the heart of arts and culture, and in our city beats the heart of a Trojan. UALR. We are Little Rock's team and Little Rock's University.